Pretty lights, get out of here. DJ Premier, can we get you out of here? Crystal Method. Skrillex, yes. And the ever dapper, perhaps the best hair in show business, Mark Ronson. So, terrific film. And why don't we start with you, Mark, down at the end. We spoke earlier, and you hadn't seen any of this film until right now. What did you think?
I laughed, I cried. No, it was amazing. Actually, we were so close to it, and you're just thinking about your own experience, and then watching what Pretty Lights went through, and Skrillex and Premier, Crystal Method, everything. I just, whether I was in the movie or not, I would have really enjoyed watching it and work.
You know, I mentioned when we talked that I felt like your segment had the least drama comparatively. It felt like
you mean the most boring.
No, you know, it feels like there's an effortless cool in the studio with you. I mean, every scene felt like a Gucci ad.
Most Steph has that red mic. He just looks so cool all the time. I think, yeah, I mean, you know what? Every experience I had going into the studio, whether there's cameras there or not, I'm always petrified. You always go in the studio, you think, fuck, this is going to be the time that everyone realizes that I have no good ideas, whatever it is. And as the producer, you have to kind of be in charge of the ship, and if they sense weakness in you, then the thing can go terribly wrong. But I mean, with Erica, Mos Def, and Zigaboo, and Trombone Shorty, and adapting to, I'd have to be pretty terrible to come out with something horrible.
As a producer, in this situation, what was your guiding principle? I know that the track is called Mona Lisa. Was it Zigaboo Mona Lisa who was the guiding light?
I thought Zig, from his breaks, like the way he played drums, all those classic Meters records, that's the blueprint of the era of hip hop that I grew up on. And here we are in New Orleans where they cut those records, and I just thought it was fitting to name the record after him.
And what do you think you take away from this experience?
No, I mean, honestly, I still, even just spending today with Eric and Zig while we were doing press for this thing, I feel like every time I'm around those people, I'm picking up something, I'm learning something. It's an experience that's going to make me better as someone that understands music, as a producer, as someone who appreciates music. So you're always trying to learn and pick things up. So,
DJ Premier. You know, in a way, I consider you the bravest of the group for taking on classical music, and I wonder if there was ever a point in this process where you just thought, this might not work out.
I mean, slightly, but not like Pretty Lights and Crystal Method. They went through some shit. I'm watching that like, wow, man. Like, for one, they were dealing with legends. And, it's hard to tell legends that you want to go a different direction when they already have laid, their foundation and their stripes are already earned. Because you looked at it as a rookie, which I feel like we all were in the project. But I was just intimidated by the fact that I've sampled, classical music when I make beats for hip hop and stuff like that, but I never took the initiative to take it as seriously for its pure form of how I had to learn to study and appreciate it. Once I did that, I'm up for the challenge. But again, for the bravery, I got to give the Crystal Method and Pretty Lights right here because they went through some shit.
You touched on this with one of your tutors, your mentors in the film, and you said, "Oh, it's about the emotion. It's still about the emotion of the music." So you found the connecting point, even though classical music may be a million miles from what you're doing.
Yeah, even when I spoke to John earlier from the Doors, after we were doing press, he said he had seen it earlier, and he said he loved how we spoke about feeling. He said when the Doors used to perform and record, they never went by nothing but emotion. And he said that's why, again, they're so classical. When you hear their stuff, you can't repeat it. You can only pay homage, and if you take it to another level, you better know what you're doing so you don't mess up what they've already laid down.
In my mind, as a DJ myself, I've always fantasized about a DJ being a conductor, but you, my friend, realized it. You made it happen.
Still got a lot to learn, but I got to give it up to Stephen Weber. I really appreciate it.
Steve, where you at, Steve? Steve is a DJ too. I didn't even know he DJed until I went down to meet up with him before he took me to the auditorium and everything. And he's on the turntable, doing Clint Eastwood whistles on the turntable. And where we're from, we don't mark our pitch control with notes. He had notes on his pitch control. With all the keys drawn on it and everything. I'm like, what the fuck is it doing? But it shows me that we're all a part of making music last forever. And if you don't do projects like Regeneration, stuff like this, the music gets stale and it's not fresh. And all of us, took a big challenge. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So again, I applaud everybody else up here, and I appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to do something like this. Yeah.
Good nights. So, Derek, I think more than everyone, we really felt your pain. We just felt the difficulty of that moment. And now that you've seen the film for the first time, what did you make of that?
I couldn't watch that part, man. I was like, no, they definitely stretched it out. I didn't remember it being that awkward. So. Yeah, man, but it was cool. It was like I sampled a lot in the records that I've made, and I think the only genre that I hadn't really spent a lot of time digging through in the record bins was the genre that Regeneration threw at me. So it was definitely a new learning experience along those lines. And what was so cool about it was realizing the similarities between really early country music and modern day hip hop production, electronic music production, and that cats like Ralph Stanley and all kinds of Johnny Cash and all kinds of country music artists were taking songs that were passed down from generation to generation and remaking them and regenerating them, just like all of us are doing up here right now. And it's cool to see the similarities between music 100 years ago and what we're doing right now. It's the same thing, just having different technology and different keyboards.
Are you listening to more country music these days?
Yeah, actually, it may be 100 years old, but I'm definitely learning and keep continuing to listen to that kind of music.
Do you feel like now you've accomplished this, you could just do anything?
Oh yeah.
One of the beautiful things about this film is it shows the real drama of the creative process and how, it's difficult at times, and it's especially revealing in your process. So, hats off to you. I think you did a great job, and it's obvious that you, at the end of it, looking back, you actually love the process. You seem to be fast friends with Leanne Rons at the end of it.
Yeah. By the end of both those sessions, the ones in Nashville with the 18 and Ralph Stanley and the going to Chicago with Leanne Rimes, there was a bit of a, you know, a hill to get over at the beginning, but everything was smooth flowing from there on out, and we all worked together really well, and it was a cool process all around.
Nice job. Skrillex. So, this project comes at a very interesting time for you in particular. Your life has jumped to warp speed in the last year. And this is just a really interesting piece. Sunday, you are nominated for 5 Grammy Awards. Including really the historic nomination is Best New Artist, which is a coveted award. So, my first question to you is sort of a bigger picture one, and that's, have you taken a moment to kind of take all this in?
Well, I think it's from what you first said, you say it's warp speed, but you can ask my team out there. I've been touring since I was 16 years old, left home and played in the punk band, traveled around the band and stuff. And, my guys are sitting out there, it's been a long 8 years, And, the craziest thing about this movie was the fact that whenever I made music, it's always been a real intimate process, I've been in my bedroom on the laptop or in the studio or in my bedroom with other artists, and it's just been us. And when you have a camera crew following you around the whole time while you're doing something that's the most intimate. It's like sex. You're opening up to someone else and you're trusting someone else, and this is the most important thing and the closest to your heart. And the things that are most closest to your heart are also the most, you can be most sensitive about as well, too. So when cameras are around and when there's a whole thing behind it, it's a scary thing because I'm confident in myself when I want to make a song because I know exactly what I want to hear. If someone doesn't like it, I don't care because I know it's what I want to hear. And if I'm collaborating with an artist that I connect with and they connect with me, we can consult with each other and be free with each other and trust in each other. We both know that what we want is gonna come out at the very end. If other people don't like it, it doesn't matter because we know we're happy with it. And so when you have a whole camera team and people following around doing something, not to mention, man, when I said in the movie that I grew up listening to the Doors, I really did grow up listening to the Doors. It's the first thing I ever heard, and it's like, after all this crazy shit has happened, and you're being filmed to make a song with the very first band that you've ever had a recognition of hearing anything musical, and then you have to make a really good song. It's the scariest thing any artist would ever face. I think, at least for myself.
One thing that really cuts clear.
But
what?
I was just gonna say though, but out of the necessity to make something fucking awesome, you can make a great relationship with a group of people that you never ever have an opportunity to even sit in the same room with. I would never think of my wildest fantasies I'd be sitting in a room where you meet anybody from the Doors.
Yeah.
And we made a cool song. So.
But there's 2 things that I think make that possible with you. Is one, there's just this natural exuberance that you bring. There's a certain joy to the process of what's going on. But also the honesty. The fact that you're able to look those guys in the eyes and say, that one scene where you're like, I don't want to do this if you don't want to do this. That's pretty bold. What do you attribute that to? Is it experience, or is it just kind of a characteristic?
You want to do what you don't want to do?
No, just being able to.
I don't mean kind of patronizing. I was just I didn't get into this project to do anything else but to enjoy company of the people that actually believe in what I'm doing. Which, and I'm just kind of, whatever, everyone that put this thing on, Regeneration, they wanted to see something cool, and I think they did capture something cool overall. But for me, as far as the process goes, when you're in the studio, you're not thinking anything else, but you want to make a good song. That's why I'm living, That's why I think we're all living and making music, because we want to make good music. We're not trying to be on TV, we're not trying to do anything else. But if someone has a platform, to actually support what our minds can conjure up and create, and hopefully do something cool, and that's cool too, and that's why I did this. Because I do believe I'm going to say it, everyone at Hyundai and everyone behind the Regeneration Project, I met every single one of those guys, booze with those guys, hung with those guys, got to really know them. They're here to say love music, man. There's stuff about everything. They can sing every lyric of every song we made together with all the artists. So we're down to do it with good people, man. And the experience you saw on the camera for all of us, I'm speaking for myself, but I can almost say it will never be the same experience we experienced. Because that's the intimate thing when we made the songs together, I think, with all the artists. But at least you got to see kind of like what it might kind of be like to be nervous and be pretty lights. Probably like he's my homie right there. All you guys are my homies, but I know you for the longest, and you killed it, man. I would have gone and
So Skrillex, we want to wish you all the best on Sunday.
talked a lot. Sorry, guys.
I hope you see you again. All right, the Crystal Method. Now,
I just want to say something, just finish up what I think Sonny was getting to. And the one person that's not here right now that really made this project like possible, his vision, his kindness, his ability to make you feel secure about the fact that there's going to be someone with a camera on you. Amir Barlev, he's not here. Yeah, he just was like immediately made us feel that, yeah, this is cool. We're just gonna be over here, and you know, he did this really smart thing where he would come up with a recorder, and I was like, what? He'd get this giant, like ancient tape recorder from it seemed like from like the 80s or something, and he would come up and he just need a few minutes to talk, and you would try to capture what it is that we were feeling at that moment. We came back and we talked about it later on. But he has this ability to just be in the room but not be intrusive. And, there was a moment in the movie where we're working on lyrics, and I said, "Fashion and fashion," and Miss Martha Ridge just immediately like, whoo, turned her back on me, and I couldn't see her, but I could feel her. She was not happy with me at that moment, and the day went on, and we continued to record, and we ended up getting what we needed, and we went back to the hotel, and crew and Amir were all having dinner, and and kind of taking a second, and I walked in, and sat down, and was having a conversation, and I was like, oh, hey guys, did you get that moment when she turned her back on me? Oh yeah, we got that. It was just I was honest, like I really didn't even know they were in the room. It was because it was just so intense, and what we were doing was so important at that moment. Because like Sonny's saying, it's so cool. This is what we're gonna do for a living, and like we get to go, and there's people that like will set up an entire studio so we can come and record with legends like Dennis Coffey and these amazing musicians, and Martha Reeves. It's like, how can we not love that, but also be very precious about
all right, hold on.
right?
Can I ask you a question? All right.
Sorry.
You're passionate. All
When I
right.
was listening to you on the radio, I always talk to you on the radio.
Let me ask you a question. No, I mean, but seriously, one thing that I took away from your whole thing in Regeneration is that it's really important for there to be meaning in what you're doing, what you're creating. And, we go back many years. We've been in the LA scene since the early 90s, warehouse parties, when they became raves and the whole thing. You remember Organic, all that.
Remember when you played Keep Up Alive at Organic?
That was Organic, yeah. And I was like seeing two-tone arms at the time. But what do you think? Is this important? Is this project important for the scene, for us, for the music? Why is it significant in your minds?
Well, I think we're paying respects to what inspires us to make music. And I think these genres of music that we're implementing in this film, I think they've always been an inspiration for us to make music. So, people kept asking us, oh, what, was it a challenge or whatever? It's like, R&B and rock, and, that's always been our inspiration. So we wanted to kind of take this opportunity to show people that it all works together, I mean, the music we make, we never call it anything, I mean, it gets loosely called electronic now, but it's just the music that we come out with from all these different inspirations, so.
Yeah, inspiration, definitely. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am. We are, nearly on the eve of huge Grammys for dance and electronic music. The representation this year is like no other. The spectrum of nominees are incredible. In fact, actually down on the end, Mark Ronson is a Grammy-winning producer of the year.
Yesterday's news compared to this guy.
Do you have any Grammys at home?
I got 3.
You got 3.
We lost you.
You got all right.
Hyundai is electronic, come on. It's, I mean, at some point, we gotta have this.
Maybe Name Primo at least give you one of ours.
It was the most, it was without any stress on that one a few years ago when we were nominated in the same category as her, because it's just like, oh man, I don't have to worry about anything when I win that. It's, it's a great, I mean, a few years ago the electronic category didn't exist because of many people like yourself and Ken and others in this room that sat on boards and really fought for the category, and it had a little resistance, and I think of whether we ever win one or get nominated again, I just think of all the records that came out before ours that were mind blowing. Leftism, I mean. That record should have been nominated for it. It's just, there's so much worrying about the fact that we haven't won anything I just wish that we could go back and really recognize some of the great records that changed, the scene, that changed our lives in many ways, and I love hearing, Peter's records and going back and listening to those. He's still popular. I mean, it's remarkable. What you had with Doors, I mean, they were just a little edgy, teased you a little bit, but when everything got rolling, it was like so cool to be in that moment. Arthur was amazing. I love everything. This is the anchor right here, this whole project right here. DJ Premier, it's an honor to be part of this with him. And Derek, I'm so jealous of Derek's bus. I mean, that is the sexiest bus ever. He's got all that cool gear in there. It's such a, fun guy to be around. He suits like this kind of coolness, but he loves what he sees when he's in there working by himself. How much he loves it. So this is such a cool thing, and I think it brings a light to what normally is, behind the curtains, and what a lot of people don't get to see, that we love what we do and we bring a lot of passion to it.
Great. Well, I want to thank you all for the inspiration that you brought to this process. I want to thank Hyundai for making it all happen. I want to thank Green Lights, Dominic Sanford, Richard Bishop. And let's give it one more time, round of applause for our artists. Thank you all for coming.
Audience Q&A.